What's going on, guys? Musaki from the Chaldea Gurus here, and it's quite the splash, isn't it? FGO is approaching its 7th year in activity in NA and 9 years of activity in JP. That is a long time, and it is an old game, and quite frankly, newer games have come out and they are ruling the roost at the moment. And FGO may be a titan, but there are definitely some things that FGO can do to improve, and I think even surpass the competition, if they actually cared about it. Now, that's not to say that FGO sucks. It's not to say that I want FGO to be Hoyoverse but Fate. But we can do a couple things to improve the game in its own way, and I have a few ideas that I've been cooking around in my brain. For the first one, let's improve the pity system. That's the easiest thing we can talk about here. The simple fact that it takes 300 rolls in order to guarantee yourself the featured SSR servant is absurd. And the fact that you cannot even do it again on the same banner. Once you get it once, that's it. You're done. No more pity. Best of luck. That's just not how pity systems work. We have seen pity systems in other gacha games. Arknights, Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, Woo-Wah, Punishing Grey Raven. All these games and more have a pity system that allows you to continue to use the pity over and over and over again. So that way you guarantee to put more money into it. On top of that, it actually gives a safety net for your players. Now you actually have an idea of the maximum amount of money that you need to get the unit versus you throwing your money into the void and you may not even get the unit you want. And yet people are quick to defend this. We should not be okay with that. If you truly love this game, and I know a lot of you do, you definitely should ask for a better pity system. They make enough money, they can do that. They just don't want to do that. And we need to have that discussion. That's not the only thing that we can do to improve this own system. I believe we need a better binding system for accounts. Now, if you play FGO, you know the binding system that you have is simply that little code with the password, and if anyone else gets that code and password, well, congratulations, they have your account, and there's almost no way to get it back. That is a very archaic way of binding your account, and not as safe. We have Google, we have all these other social media accounts and email accounts that you can bind it to that would be much better. And yes, they do have the Aniplex, Lasangle account binding system in JP, but why is that only in JP? You gave them the binding account first, you're testing it out to see how well it works, and then you're gonna roll it out to everywhere else, because quite frankly, if you don't, that's not very good for the other player base outside of Japan. And it's very much understandable that a Japanese company will feel way more comfortable in a Japanese market because they understand it down to its bones. And that makes sense. But when you're trying to appeal outside of your comfort zone, outside into the rest of the world, it's okay to take risks. You make enough money to do that. And I don't think enough people are seeing it from that perspective. And that's okay. I want to have a discussion with you. A better binding system would help. Be able to move around your accounts, be more secure in having your accounts, and not having to worry about if you get a new phone, well, I just lost everything. Nope, it's bound to your email, it's bound to your Apple ID, it's bound to your Android account. Whatever you have, it'll be safer. And I think that's something they can do. The Lasangle account bind, that is a positive step. Yes, but I really think they can go even further. If they really don't want to pay Google, have a PC client. That would be amazing, actually. Adding a PC client for Fate Grand Order would be amazing. That would eliminate the need for anyone to use emulators. There would be no need for it. The game also isn't very intensive, so it would be a game that people can play almost anything. And it would allow them to have their account's binding system and it'd be safe to use. So I really think that would be a good idea. Better binding system, have a PC client, that's all kind of rolled into one. But let's go a little bit further here. Since we talked about Gacha not too long ago, let's go back to the topic here. I think they should add something experimental, something that I've only really seen in one other Gacha game at the moment, and that is the wish list system. The wish list system is something that I was introduced to in Nikkei, and as much as people might be making fun of the game, let's face it, the game is actually pretty good. It stands the test of time and regularly competes in that top 5, top 10 category alongside its other giants. And one of the things that they do is they have a wish list system in the standard banner, which allows them to choose 15 units in that banner, and you are only getting those units outside of the special ones. So outside of your special ultra rare ones, you get these 15 and it's only these 15. And that is something that FGO can definitely do with. Imagine this, that you have a set of 3 servers per category, or a set of 5 servers per category. And you go ahead and say, I want these servers for sabers, these servers for archers, these servers for berserkers, etc. so forth. And now, anytime you roll story banner, you are getting only those units. That is a wonderful feeling. It gives people the desire to want to roll on the story banner versus it just being a meme. People actually have a reason to roll it aside from getting story locked servants. And with the amount of story locked servers you're adding to that pool, it's essentially very hard to get the unit you really want. And this is a way to kind of focus that a little bit without having rotating banners all the time. It's a brilliant system, and I think FGO has the bones to make this work. Another topic is auto. Just add auto to the game. I understand that we can't be able to do that all the time with FGO because of just the nature of it. There's RNG, there's crit, there's whatever else. But in those events where things didn't work out the way you wanted to, you can always just restart it. They would give you the appropriate stamina back that you can go ahead and do it again if something messes up. This is something that you can definitely bring to FGO, and it would make it easier for newer players to go ahead and play the game. Because let's face it, while I might be okay with the gameplay, and you as a potential veteran player at FGO might be fine with the gameplay, a brand new player who has not touched FGO at all playing this game, and it's hit or miss. Are they gonna like it or not? It's kind of rough, especially when we have to do things over and over and over again. It's really grindy early on in the beginning stages, especially when they throw a lot at you, and it makes people not want to really pay attention to all that stuff they're throwing at you. So I really think that adding an auto feature would be helpful. And for those of you who are saying, oh, well, you don't need auto. I don't want auto in my game. We can just play the game like the rest of us. Just because auto is in the game does not mean that you have to use it. Just having the option is good enough. And I think that is good. Now, if I want to add an addition to that, just like I did with an earlier topic, when you skip, why don't you have the ability to get a story summary of what you skipped? Or allow people to skip entire early story beats. Something so they can get right into the meat and potatoes of the FGO story that we know and love. Let's face it, FGO story really only kicks off once Camelot gets here. While there may be some fun moments in Okeanos and America and everything else, the core of it is Camelot. There's a reason why we have a Camelot movie, a Babylonian anime, and a Solomon movie. That's the core of Arc 1. That was where things escalated, where the drama and the cinema came from, where we actually cared about seeing a servant die in front of us for the first time. We actually see the sprite get damaged beyond repair in front of us. That is something that we haven't had much before then. Allow people to auto through the game, put an auto feature in there. And if you feel extra generous with that skip feature, add a little story summary just so people know exactly what's happening. That'll be fantastic for newer players and even some old veteran players who maybe are just trying to clear through the game so they can get caught up to play that new event that you put behind a requirement, and they don't have time to read the story. And it just might convince them, that seems really interesting. Maybe I'll go ahead and read this. That sounds like really fun. And lastly, this is the last thing I wanted to cover for this. And these are all things I feel that FGO can use to improve, but this one is a little special. I truly believe that the company, Lasangle, Aniplex, they need to communicate with this community way more. Don't get me wrong, Tucson releasing a video every month for NA was really cool. I really like the fact that they say, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what you can expect, and here are the unique things here, these are the rewards, etc. That was cool. I did that, Clairvoyant ZX every month, so I understand. It's really awesome when a company can talk to you like that. But it feels like there is a lot of things that we do not know. Our JP server counterparts have a lot working against them. There's a lot of story that isn't out yet, and they're stringing things out for a long time. They've already said that they are aware of several issues that the community has voiced through their surveys, and they have not done anything to change any of that. So that's the issue. They know there's things wrong, but they haven't talked about it, and they haven't done anything about it. They just let things languish. The servant coin system is still very much not a complete system. We have a lot of things wrong in the game itself, and this company does not talk enough. There's not a Discord where you can interact with other people in the community and talk directly to the devs, maybe even giving them something like, hey, we found this bug, or hey, we found this. Remember when that popular VTuber found a bug in the opening stages of Fuyuki because they used someone's fully maxed out Gilgamesh? That was in the game for 9 years. They just caught that. 9 years. That might have been caught sooner if they had more open communication with their community instead of being held up in the offices. And I don't blame this on any individual workers, and no one should, because the NA translation team, from ones I met, are very hardworking and very much fans of the game. They hear our voices, they see what they can do, but they're very limited in trying to actually do the things that we're requesting. They can suggest all the things they want, but it's all up to the heads on the top to decide what happens. And they're deciding that content creators do not exist. They're deciding they do not want to talk to their community. They're deciding that they're going to keep all the cards and all the information close to their chests, and we'll just find out when they want to tell us. Meanwhile, we have other gaming companies that actually talk to the community, that take direct feedback. Withering Waves just came out. It's only been out for about a week, and they've released hot fixes every single day. They've given out a free 5-star for the inconvenience and mistranslations. They've given out tons and tons of rewards, and that's just that game. Honkai Star Rail talks to their community all the time. They release up-to-date information every month, and it's consistent. We don't want to talk about Hoyoverse or anything like that. Okay, let's talk about Nikkei. Nikkei regularly releases developers notes every month, every time there's a new update, going deep into how exactly they're going to change the game upcoming and responded directly to the feedback the players have said, even bringing back mini games that they have loved and enjoyed and putting them back into the game. It's possible to do this. I understand how old FGO is. I understand it's a legacy game. I love FGO way more than it may appear. It's because I love this game so much that I have these thoughts and concerns that we can make it better. It can just be better. But they're not. They're just accepting it as is, because regardless of what they do, people will buy it. It's Fate. People love Fate. Anything with the Fate name on it, they will buy. But I still think we need to have the discussion, guys. We can't just ignore the issues with the game. We can't say the game's just bad and that's it. But you also can't say the game's perfect. If you want the game to continue to thrive beyond just existing, then I think it's important that we talk about the things that really matter and that they can hear your voice. That's what I value the most. I don't care if FGO is not like Hoyoverse. I don't care if it really has 3D models or not. Would that be nice? Of course, FGO Arcade exists. But more than anything, I want new players to be able to enjoy the stories and characters that we've grown to love. And we can't do that if the game is unplayable and the barriers of entry are so high that they can't even get past London. But what do you guys think? I'm really open to conversation on this. If you really want to go ahead and have this conversation with me, go down in the comments. I do read all the comments, and talk to me on Twitter if you want. That's fine. I've been doing that quite a bit these past few days. And I'm really interested to see what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, all the top supporters, for making this happen. I love all your faces. You lamps really make all this happen. I really want to know what you have to say. But until next time, my name is Musaki from the Chaldea Gurus. Logging out. See ya.